Welcome into Sports Memo's betting podcast for July 1st. July is here. We got 4th of July coming up this week, and we got Teddy Covers on the podcast today, breaking down some MLB, maybe a little NBA free agency, some NFL season win total numbers. Teddy, welcome into the podcast. Happy Monday to you.
Hey, great to be here. Drew, happy July, man. You know what happens in July, right?
It's the month before football starts.
No. The training camps start in July. NFL camps start in July. We got college camps start at the end of the month. And, of course, we have the season win report coming out before this month is through. So I always like July. You know, yeah, it's a quiet month for most sports bettors, MLB on center stage. But you know that all the things we want to do just around the corner, the clock ticking for football season to start.
Absolutely, Teddy. Well said. Camp starting in July, 87-35. That's 71% NFL season win total report. That's since 2001. It's not all backloaded either. He's been good of late. And overall in the NFL the last 4 years, 178, 128. That's 58%. All plays released in the NFL the last 4 years. Last year, he went north of 60% in the NFL. One of the best out there in terms of NFL sports bettors. That's Teddy Covers. Check out his NFL and NFL college football full season at sportsmemo.com. Comes highly recommended, and also you get his NFL season over-under win report included in his NFL or NFL college football full season packages. It's included in the full season, and that is exclusively at sportsmemo.com. Teddy, talking about NFL season win totals, is there anything else that you've learned here in the last couple weeks since we had you on last as far as changes in the market or, camps, anything coming out of, mini-season camps that you think the listeners need to know about?
Well, I mean, the markets are always bouncing around. Although this is really one of the quietest times of the year for the NFL markets, this sort of dead period between the end of free agency and the start of training camps. Once training camps open, we'll see the markets start to move again, most likely. But, you know, in terms of actual breaking info on a day-in, day-out basis, this is quiet, you know. When it comes to getting a real feel for what teams are capable of accomplishing this year, what their coaching staffs are working on, et cetera, you know, that's not a bad time of year to do that time of digging, and that's why I've been digging a whole lot the last couple of weeks, while I'll continue to do that over the next couple of weeks in preparation for that win total report. As you mentioned, 5-0 last year. What is it, 26-8 over the last 7 years, and better than 71% of the lifetime. It is a report that I put a ton of time into, and it's a report that I'm very proud of. So, and the best thing about it, of course, if you purchase, you get the analysis that goes with it, and that's analysis that is good all year long. But don't buy the report, honestly. Don't ever buy a play. The way to get on board is with a package. You know, do the NFL or NFL college, and I'll take you through the Super Bowl with every play that I've got. So that would be my advice for those of you considering what to do for this upcoming football season.
And we got the early bird prices up at sportsmemo.com, so there's discounts there, over $200, $300 in savings at sportsmemo.com. The NFL season win total report, over 70% lifetime, exclusively at sportsmemo.com, so check it out as soon as possible. The report coming up towards the end of this month, so stay tuned for that. Teddy, also on the docket, mainstream media is covering it big time. With baseball going on, looking forward to college football, I haven't stayed totally on top of it, but talking about NBA free agencies, seems like a lot of movement so far this offseason. You think there's anything the listeners need to know about in terms of NBA free agency moves?
I mean, there's been a ton. I mean, obviously the free agency started at 3 o'clock Pacific yesterday, 6 Eastern. So in a quarter of a day yesterday, we saw the entire league flip. An enormous number of moves. In fact, so many moves that, like, me wrapping my head around it on Monday as the signings continue to come in, I'm like, let's take a breath. Let's look at these. But it is going to be a very unique NBA season in the sense that usually we have a clear favorite or a couple of clear favorites. Like half the league's playing like they can win a title this year. And that should be a lot of fun because that's not always the case in the NBA. The biggest moves, obviously, Jimmy Butler going to the Heat. I love Al Horford going to Philly. Although I hated the Sixers' decision, all right, we're going to sign Tobias Harris and then let Jimmy Butler go. That was, in my mind, bizarre, but I love Al Horford there. I love Kemba going to the Celtics. Obviously, the Nets moving from a franchise that was at the very bottom of the NBA, 3 or 4 years ago, now into one of the favorites in the Eastern Conference. So much. I mean, Indiana's the team that got sneaky good. Of all the teams that made moves in free agency, the hype. The Pacers didn't get a ton of hype. I love their signings. I love the moves they made this offseason. I think Indiana might be sneaky good. And Malcolm Brogdon. And the Bucks signed, the Bucks paid the money to sign Middleton and let Brogdon walk. I might have made the opposite decision with those two players personally. And, of course, we get to laugh at the Knicks.
Yeah.
It's always fun to laugh at the Knicks. New York, of course, cleared from the middle of the season, from the All-Star break. James Dolan, we're clearing out cap space. We're going to bring in max quality free agents. Yeah, the Knicks got Julius Randle to sign for $63 million, mind you. Oh, goodness. James Dolan has officially, not that he didn't jump the shark many, many years ago, but at this stage, the free agents are laughing at the Knicks. No one wants to play for that organization, and you can continue to expect the Knicks to be money losers for their backers like they've been for the better part of the last decade.
And what about Kevin Durant? What are you hearing there?
Durant's in Brooklyn. It's a done deal. That being said, Durant's not going to play this year, so his affecting how much he's going to, his Kyrie and Durant and DeAndre Jordan all going to Brooklyn, which makes the Nets instant title contenders. That being said, let's see what Durant's what the timetable is in his return from injury. I'm not expecting him necessarily to be a big contributor next year.
Okay, so like even in the playoffs, if he kind of could come back, you don't think it's worth it for him to push it?
It's hard to say. That's projecting too far out. It is. That being said, the average length of time off a ACL before you get back in the NBA is like 9 to 10 months of rehab. So, in theory, he could be back for the start of the playoffs. But in theory.
Right. Okay. And that is just theory. And guys, we're talking with Teddy Covers here at Teddy_Covers on Twitter. And you can also get his 1 year all access talking NBA here, which Teddy is very good at as well. It's right there at sportsmemo.com, and that would include all plays in all sports for 365 days. So check that out at sportsmemo.com as well. And Teddy, let's move on to the diamond here. Let's just go every game on the board. We'll go through it real quick. Cubs, Pirates, Alzey going for the Cubs. We got Williams going for Pittsburgh. I'm looking to fade Williams here, Teddy. Off the DL, I believe he's lost 2 straight games, plus giving up a bunch of hits and runs. I like the Cubs here, just minus 120 on the road, 9.5 being the total. You agree with me?
Well, here's a quote from Trevor Williams after his last start. Remember, the first start back on the injury list, he got bombed. Last time out, 4 runs, 8 hits, 6 2/3 against the Astros. The Astros lineup's pretty good. But read his quote after the game. Quote, I'm thankful I'm healthy and that my body feels great. I'm thankful Clint Hurdle, manager, let me go out for the 7th. For me to go out for the 7th and get to 100 pitches, to do that is only going to help me next start. He's got a pretty good track record against the Cubs. And he struggled obviously in those first 2 starts back. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a better outing today. And look, the Cubs have now lost, each of their last 5 road series. They're playing great in the friendly confines. They're not playing great on the highway. And it's a Pirates team that had a bad weekend. They went into the weekend, they've been playing great. They'd won, 9 of 12 after Friday night's win and then got shut down in Milwaukee over the last 2 days. They're still playing pretty good ball, and the lineup is still capable of clicking. Alzolay's been pretty good through his first 2 starts, but we're not talking about a guy that's going to go deep. 4.2, 87 pitches last time out, ran out of gas in the 5th. Joe Madden, quote, he did well, he just ran out of gas. You can see how good he's going to be. I believe all that. All that being said, he's not going 7 strong here. And the Pirates can hit, and the Cubs bullpen's not one I'm excited about. So it's not a game I was particularly thrilled with, but, if the Cubs get to like minus 125, minus 130, and I'm getting a plus one, if I get a plus 120 on Pittsburgh, I'll be interested. I don't know if I'll see that before the first pitch.
Okay, good stuff there in the NL Central from Teddy Covers. We got another one here: Milwaukee versus Cincinnati. Teddy, we're seeing what, tens now in terms of a total, an NL total outside of Colorado, double digits now. That's just nowadays in MLB. Seeing what, minus 105 to minus 110. Cincinnati, home favorite. Call it pick 'em if you want, but you interested in getting involved in the Brewers versus the Reds?
Well, the Reds are the number one under team in baseball, and it's not even close. I mean, they've been an under machine literally for the entire season. Now, they do have bullpen issues tonight. Iglesias went a 6-out save last night. He's not going to be able to go. They use the setup man as well, so I am concerned about Cincy's ability to close out this ball game. But, and I mean, the Reds have been winning from all year, 4-11 in his 15 starts this season. But, Hauser's using that opener role, and he has been great in that opener role for the Brewers. And, of course, a bullpen game behind him for Milwaukee. And it's not like, this team's played good ball over the course of the last month. They're a sub of 500 squad. Bats aren't going. They took 2 out of 3 from the Pirates, but they haven't scored more than 4 in any of their last 6 ball games. I'm not betting this one over. I'll just leave it at that. Although if I was looking at the Cincinnati side of this ball game, might be more inclined to look at the first 5 than I would at the full game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially because Milwaukee, they will have Hader available. He only pitched 16 pitches over the weekend, so the last 3 games, so he'll be available. I mean, overall, if both of these 2 bullpens are rested, in my opinion, they're 2 top 10 bullpens. I will say this about Hauser. He's kind of the starter, reliever, mixology type here, and opponents are batting 183 off of him as a reliever and over 400 in terms of batting average as a starter. So that doesn't bode well for tonight's game. But Cincinnati's starter's just 2-8 over a 4 ERA as well. So I think you can make the argument for both sides, but I'm with you. I mean, Cincinnati, an under trender here. I wouldn't look to bet them over, especially with a high total here in the National League. We got Baltimore at Tampa Bay up next. Looks like Stanek's going to be the opener here for Tampa Bay at home in Tropicana. Minus 260, the Rays laying here at home. Total of 9, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big weekend for Tampa. I mean, in terms of momentum, we don't want to overemphasize momentum, but at the same time, you don't want to underemphasize it either. It mattered that the Rays had won 3 of the last 4. It mattered that the rookie came in on Saturday and shut everyone down. It mattered that Snell, who's been struggling since coming off the DL, came in and was completely dominant again on Sunday. These are good signs for a Rays team that, just had their first losing month in over a year, where Boston's starting to, heat up behind them in that AL East. That being said, this price isn't right. Stanek, who has great numbers overall, he's given up runs, each of the last 3 or 4 times that he's been the opener. So he's not been dynamite. Yarbrough, who comes in behind him, he's been spotty of late. And for as bad as Baltimore is, obviously, on a team on pace to lose 110 plus again this season, they just took 2 out of 3 from the Indians. They scored 26 runs in the 2 wins. And this kid, Eshelman, he was a second-round choice. He's someone who, the markets do not like him one iota. But again, if you talk about a first 5 deal, first time and then a kid making his debut against a lineup that hasn't seen him, and the control is there for Eshelman. He's not going to walk batters. Maybe look at the O's early, first 5 at the big dog price.
I like it. Big dog here with a guy that's going to throw strikes. You're right. It might be a sell high opportunity on the Rays, especially, in Tropicana Field. Not the greatest of home field advantages there for the AL East team. But we got the Angels versus the Texas Rangers up next, Teddy. We got Suarez versus Mike Minor. Surprising. Mike Minor here. 2 lefties on the hill, total of 10.5 actually, mostly across the marketplace. Minus 140 to minus 150 home favorites here. The Rangers taking money at home. You interested in getting involved in this AL West matchup, Teddy?
Well, if I was going to play it, I could only play Texas. And, I mean, we've seen a pretty dramatic split with Mike Miners. The wise guys, the metrics bettors, the analytics bettors, they're fading him every single start. And the public's in love with him. Why? Because he keeps winning. Mike Minor leads the American League in ERA. He's won his last 3 starts. He's dominated the Angels through a shutout against LA back in April, and 3-0 with a 2.23 ERA in 7 games against LA, a strong track record against current Angels as well. His manager, talking about how great he is, Chris Woodward, says he's the best pitcher in baseball right now. Quote, when you have the weapons he has, it just isn't fair sometimes. You watch those poor guys trying to swing, and it's just unfair. Those are good quotes and good numbers and consistent results. The analytics guys say, look at him. His ERA might be 2.40, but his xFIP's almost 2 runs higher. He's not striking out enough batters. He has too high a walk rate, and the unsustainable strand rate at more than 88%. When runners get on base, they just haven't scored. They're like, Minor has been lucky, not good. He is a pitcher to fade. I'm not excited about fading. Not right now. And look, I mean, obviously the Angels, a good hitting lineup right now. They've played much better baseball over the course of the last month. I'm not excited about Suarez, although the Rangers' bats got cooled off over the weekend. But Suarez, the ERA's over 5, the xFIP's over 5. He couldn't get Blue Jays out in his last outing, and he's not a guy with a ton of experience against good lineups, or pitching in Texas for that matter. So, yeah, I mean, the price is relatively cheap for the Rangers because the advanced metrics are keeping the price low. That being said, Texas is the single most public play on the board today, and that always concerns me, especially on a light card in MLB.
Does Suarez, Teddy, young guy, kind of not his first appearance, but making the step up kind of from AAA here into MLB, and his walk rate, 4.76 per 9 in AAA? How much does that worry you for young pitchers kind of having command control issues making the step up to Major League Baseball?
It concerns me a lot. You're not hearing me make a case for the Angels today. For as much as I was talking about Minor, you're not hearing me make a case for the under either. And look, I mean, Suarez has had, the 3 previous starts since the beginning of June. He's given up 5 dingers. And the walk rate has been out of control. But last time out against the Blue Jays, you want to talk a stat you don't want to see for a guy pitching in Arlington? 15 fly ball outs, 1 ground ball out in Toronto against the Jays. That is a concern to me as much as any other factor.
Yeah, that's a lot, 15-1 for sure. We got the nightcap here, Teddy, and we'll break it down every game on the board. Also, guys, remember it's $9 Monday at sportsmemo.com. You can get Teddy Covers top play here on his homepage, the Giants vs. Padres run line right here for only $9 discounted. We also got every play on the board discounted to just $9 every Monday at sportsmemo.com. So we got Samardzija, we got Allen on the hill, the lefty for the Padres, commanding a minus 165 price tag here, Teddy. Total of 8. Any quick thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I got one quick thought. If you want my opinion, it's only $9. It's $9 Monday. Give it a shot over at sportsmemo.com. Right now, certainly a bad loss yesterday from the Padres. They in control of that game and really let it get away and had run-scoring chances late and let them get away too. We'll see how San Diego bounces back in a bigger chalk range against Samardzija, who's pitched very, very well at Petco, but has not pitched very, very well of late.
Teddy Covers with the nightcap at sportsmemo.com. It's $9 Monday. And Teddy, hey, I hope everything, in July, you're relaxed, you're spending the time on the NFL season win total report, getting ready for football, and, still handicapping baseball. So excited for you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I take a couple of weeks off after the All-Star break. This is my, I'm not, some guys are teams. I don't have a team. It's me. So by this time of year, I tend to be a little bit gassed. I'm looking forward to taking a little bit of a break. I'll be going back east. And then come back tan, rested, and ready because you know what happens when we come back. Football season here now. So that's one advantage I have, having done this as long as I have, is I know how to manage my body and know how to manage my brain to the level where, how can you do this sustainably? And the way I do it sustainably is by taking my break right here in July. So this will be my last pod for a couple of weeks. But like you said, We'll be back before the month is through, talking NFL and releasing that NFL season win report just around the corner.
That will be a big podcast here, Teddy, in a couple weeks. So, hey, get well rested, well recuperated. A little R&R for Teddy Covers. You deserve it, bud. This season for Teddy Covers, guys, 165, 142, 54%. All sports 2019. That's plus 36.7% net gain overall. If you bet every play he's released in 2019, you've done very good. So Teddy Covers, hats off to you, and we'll have you back on later in the month talking the NFL season win totals right before the NFL season win total report comes out. So jump on it at sportsmemo.com. Huge discounts right now for Teddy and all the handicappers. And guys, we'll be back tomorrow talking CFL. Every game on the board with Andrew McGinnis. 8-0 start to the CFL season as well. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Best of luck with your bets. And Teddy Covers, thanks for the time.
Cheers.